Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Bodo Show. Today, I'm going to talk to you about folklore, mythology, comic books, and adventure because I am working on a winter comic book. And maybe, just maybe, if you get interested in what I'm making, you might help me out. We'll see. First, I need to get you interested. So, what am I making? I'm making a comic book about different cultures. How would you say, winter wizards or snow grandpas, as I like to call them. Like, for example, Santa Claus and figures like him. Santa Claus is just one of them. One of them technically is a fusion between different cultures, interpretations, and more of a modern spin on it, but something similar. Basically, where I got this idea from is that we Georgians and Caucasians have our own figure, which is Tolis Papa, Papa Snow, Grandfather Snow, who is a bit of a modern creation but is based on very, very ancient traditions. The ancient traditions that I'll tell you in the future. I wanted to promote our figure, our Tolis Papa, because a lot of kids and even adults don't know or care about him and much rather celebrate Santa Claus. Santa Claus is a great figure. I have some issues with over commercializations, but he's a well constructed modern figure with a lot of historical ties with him. So I wanted to make something similar, give life to Tolis Papa as different fairy tales and movies and cartoons made for Santa Claus. People wouldn't care about Santa Claus without so many pop culture references, and of course, its creator, Coca-Cola. Let's not forget that image that we know about Santa Claus was invented pretty recently by some fairy tales and poems about Mr. Claus. Then the image that we know him by was created by Coca-Cola. And that got me thinking, why can't I do similar to Tolis Papa, which is a pre-existing character but lacks a legend, a mythos, a story about him. So that's what I set out to do about, oh gosh, before the coronavirus. I was going to say 2 years ago, but 2019 was about 4 to 5 years ago. Oh my god. 4 years ago about. Damn. Time is a cruel mistress. And I've been, every time Christmas and New Year's comes about, I start thinking about Tolis Papa. How can I make him popular? I made a few drawings. Hopefully you see them on the screen. Some better, some worse. I'm trying to figure out. I'm also trying to create a design for this character. And then it got me thinking to create a comic book about this character, to promote him, popularize him. While trying to create this comic book, I discovered that there are a lot of other wintermen, winter grandpas, that can be as interesting, or sometimes I would say more interesting than Santa Claus, for example, Tolis Papa. So that got me thinking, why not make a comic book about all these characters? There are far too many. I chose but a few, and make popularize them, give them new life in this pop culture, modern, hip, new tech-based society, to revive this old fairy tale and mythological figures and give them more of a modern spin while keeping the traditions intact. That's my goal. And I've been thinking about this. Every time winter comes around, I'm like, oh, I'm too busy, I'm too busy. And winter now came about, and I'm like, I am too busy, but I feel like that I should make it. I should start making it. I should have started making 2 to 3 months ago, but procrastination is one of my biggest weaknesses. And that got me thinking that I'm making videos. Why not make a video about it? And I found, just randomly while I was thinking about this topic, I'm going to make a comic book. Maybe should I make a video about it to interest my viewers? I found another much better comic book creator. Shout out to Son of Santa, who I chatted with, and he told me you should make a video about promoting it. I'm like, sure, I'm going to. And this is the video. Now, I hopefully got you interested about who is Tolis Papa, who are these other Wintermen who need to be recognized, and what is the comic book about. I'm going to give you a brief summary of what the comic book will be about, and then I will, in this video, talk more about Tolis Papa and my troubles designing and telling the story. So, comic book premise is each culture that has harsh winters and has to deal with terrible snows and colds, and basically winter becomes a survival horror experience. They have in their collective consciousness, in their spirit, created a figure, a protective spirit, a human embodied spirit who guides and protects them in these difficult times. They come from different cultures, different time periods, different influences, and more modern influences shape them too. But they are flesh and blood, magical demigods, let's say, like magical wizards, winter wizards. There are many, but I chose to specifically cover just a few, which is protagonist or the story who we get introduced to first is Tolis Papa, who discovers that hey, nobody cares about me, everyone likes Santa Claus, and he's stuck in his castle in the highest mountains of the Caucasus. I'm going to go get that deeper, but discovers that someone still cares about him, and that person is in trouble, tries to save that person, and discovers that maybe Santa Claus just doesn't want to get rid of him, wants to get rid of all of them for good, because he finds more fairy tale monsters who are trying to kill him with weapons and technology supplied by Mr. Claus Incorporated, or I'm going to figure some better name for it. Bombs and guns shaped like toys and wrapped in like cute, trying to keep it family friendly, and with his powers of future vision, I'll explain everything. He discovers that other Wintermen are in trouble and he needs to save them and fight with them. He goes to Siberia and meets Chishraen. Chishraen is fighting his own demons, his own monsters from both, I'll try to include North and Central Asian mythologies. Not just Siberian, I'll include some Mongolic, maybe Tibetan, something, to cover more bases. Basically, popularizes the character and represent these groups of people. That's what I'm trying to do. And with him is fighting of also Hotei, a Japanese, one of the seven gods of luck and good fortune from Japanese culture, which Hotei is Japanese Buddhist, also popular in other East Asian cultures. He's not technically a winter man specifically, but he fits the category. He has a big bag, he has a big belly, some rough patches of a beard, East Asian style beard, and he also brings jolly and joy to children and needy. I'm trying to retroactively bring forth maybe this specific character isn't associated to New Year's and winter and Christmas, but he's a similar type figure. Tolis Papa meets all these other figures, Chishraen and Hotei, the Buddhist monk, and they team up, defeat their monsters who are trying to get rid of them, and head to Europe to protect Sinterklaas. Sinterklaas is, of course, European Belgian pronunciation of Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas is a saint for all of us Christians, especially he's greatly venerated in Orthodox culture, and I don't really feel comfortable with playing too much around a saintly figure that I personally also venerate without the winter and the holidays. It's a bit strange for us in Eastern Europe to venerate Saint Nicholas only around the Christmas, because we venerate him all the time, because he's a very important saint and foundational figure in Christianity in general. But Sinterklaas is more of a European style interpretation of this character, so I'm more comfortable with playing around Sinterklaas and not Saint Nicholas. I hope you understand this. So they meet Sinterklaas. There are, of course, I want to include Krampus and different European oogly booglies and monsters and fairy tale creatures that are trying to mess with him. And they get the idea that Santa Claus is behind all of this. But is he, though? I'm going to wrap it up here because I don't want to go into spoilers because then the story has a bit of a twist and a turn. So, this is the general outline of the story. Basically, it's going to be fairy tales meets expandables. You know, this like old 80s action heroes teaming up to defeat some campy bad guys. 80s action, old grandpas are teaming up to go on a one last adventure to save the world. That kind of story. It's going to be fun, it's going to be funny, and give modern life and popularization to these figures that I'm trying to do. Oh, and also it's going to be a bit satirical and political in not cringy way. I'm trying to be respectful, like I'm trying to promote different cultures by respecting them, but maybe making fun of the modern situation around Christmas and stuff like that. Hope this idea interests you. I would go further into detail, but I've never made this type of video. I don't know how much spoilers would affect because I have a lot of twists and turns planned for the story. Typical 80s action style. Who's the real bad guy and stuff like that. As an artist, while making this comic book, I have a lot of challenges. Not least of it is the fact that I haven't drawn in quite a while, and I'm trying to get back into drawing, and I don't have a lot of experience in making a comic book because sure, it's drawing, but I usually just draw characters that I like. Comic book drawing takes a whole new level of skill that I'm trying to develop in the process. And that's why it's taking me a bit longer than usual. Hopefully I want to release I wanted to make it 10 pages, but when I sketched these 10 pages out, I realized I need at least 15. So hopefully, until New Year's, I'll release all these 15 pages, the first chapter of the story. The first chapter will be about meeting a pseudo protagonist. There are going to be other heroes in the story, but first character we meet, Tolis Papa. Who is he? What's he is about? And him fighting different Georgian fairy tale monsters. I hope the comic book idea interests you guys. So, if you'd like to support me or if you like the idea, give me a comment. What do you think about what I'm making? Do you support it? Would you like to read it? Would you like to buy it? I really want to design these characters to be easily marketable so I can sell plushies and little Christmas decorations and stuff, many more things from it. Again, my old story about hobo with a pot of butter. This is my pot of butter, and I hopefully can turn it into something actually productive and manageable that I can get money out of it. But we'll see. Also, I would like to make more videos talking about different character designs, talking about the villains. I have many villains in the story. Folklore monsters like Devi or Krampus or this and that, to maybe some twist villains that we'll find out in the future. What I want to know from you is how should I tell the story? Should I reveal the twist ending in the video? Tell me your suggestions. Maybe here's what I'm thinking. I could finally do something with my Patreon and upload behind the scenes, like secret stories, what's actually going on in this story, how I'm designing the characters, not just visually, but in the story itself. What's the twist ending? Who is the real villain? Is Santa Claus the actual bad guy, or is someone behind him? And if you'd like to help me out even further, follow my Patreon, where I think I'll be uploading more behind the scenes. Of course, I'll be uploading PNG files of what I've already made. All of the resources and images that you have seen on the screen, I shall upload on Patreon, reference images and my drawings. I hope you find this story entertaining. Again, thanks to all of my Patreon supporters. They mean a whole lot to me. You guys are literally lifeblood of my channel. Thanks again. Tell me if you'd like to know more about my comic book story. Tell me if you'd like to financially support it. Maybe. And hopefully, maybe next year, No. I'll finish the story. I'll continue it. We'll see what happens next year. Here's hoping my foot will be very lucky going to my house, and more paths will open up for. We'll see. Who knows? Again, thanks and take care.